because I did one at the beginning of this month, and I'll do one at the September meeting.
Okay. All right. Since this is a special board meeting. Okay.
Yeah, but Tony does have some updates for you.
And what, Tony, which agenda item would that be under?
Probably matters initiated.
Yeah, items initiated. You could ask me for an update on school service.
Hi.
We just assumed someone was going to ask, that we were ready.
The meeting is now live. You guys can go ahead and start.
In the absence of the chair and vice chair, I would ask for a volunteer to chair the meeting.
I would be happy to chair the meeting.
Okay, without objection, Carla will chair the meeting.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Could we have a roll call of our members, please?
Yes, Director Bonanno,
Here.
Director Josie,
Here.
Director Kick,
Here.
Director Narum,
Here.
Director Brown.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, so this meeting is held via teleconference in accordance with Government Code Section 54953E2 in order to protect the health and safety of individuals that are present. Our next agenda item is meeting open to the public. This is where members of the audience may address the Board of Directors on any matter within the general subject matter jurisdiction of the LAVTA Board of Directors. Do we have anybody that would like to speak to the board under open to the public?
So we don't have any attendees in this meeting currently, and I didn't receive any comments via email today.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. I will close the agenda item 3 and move on to consent agenda. These are items considered routine in nature and normally approved by a single vote. Do we have any questions by our board on the agenda item consent? Seeing none, do we have anybody from the public that would like to speak on consent agenda?
I don't see any comments from the public. There's no attendees in this meeting.
We did not receive anything in writing.
No.
Okay. All right. I'm looking for approval of the consent agenda, please.
So moved. Josie?
I'll second.
Made by Josie, seconded by Narum. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Director Bonanno,
Aye.
Director Josie,
Aye.
Director Kick,
Aye.
Director Narum,
Aye.
Director Brown.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay. Our next agenda item, excuse me, is the contract award for our shared autonomous vehicle system engineering services. Could I turn it over to staff at this point, please?
Yes. Good afternoon, Board of Directors. Tong Tran, Director of Operation and Innovation. This item before you is time sensitive, so thank you so much for convening today. Since I haven't provided an update on the SAV project for quite some time, I think it would be beneficial if I go over our accomplishment to date, plans for the next 2 years, and current initiatives. So some of the key accomplishments include successful completion of phase 1, where the vehicle operated autonomously for more than 500 miles. We implemented the first SV project to provide service to civilian on public road on the West Coast. And on the back end, we completed the user needs analysis and system engineering management plan or SEM. In terms of what's planned for the next 2 years, we have phase 2, which will have the faster vehicles, the 2 mobility hubs, and a longer route that extends to the high density business park. This is scheduled for implementation in early 2024. So in the meantime, an interim option is being explored. I'm currently working on the service implementation plan and also a draft agreement for full turnkey operation and maintenance. And we'll present that to you in the next couple of months. Also next month, I'll bring forth a contract task order with Kimberly Horn Associate for the design work on the mobility hub at the business park. As for the current initiative, the item in front of you today is to approve resolution 34-2022, recommending the board to award a contract to WSP for the SAV system engineering services. The detailed scope of work for this contract is included in your staff report. But to summarize, WSP will help develop and finalize the various technical documents, such as the SEMP and the concept of operational ConOps. They will also develop the system requirement for the SAV vehicles, as well as the CV, which is the communication system that will allow the vehicle to speak to the controller at the intersection. WSP will also provide support for the design of the mobility hub and procurement of the vehicles, among other tasks. So in terms of our RFP, it was released on June 17 of 2022, and 4 proposals were received on July 18 of 2022. So to help evaluate the proposal, a committee was formed consisting staff from LAVTA, the City of Dublin, ACTC, and BART. Proposal were evaluated based on 3 categories. First one is company qualification, experience, and references, and then understanding of and response to proposal requirements, and lastly, written and oral communication. WSP's proposal received the highest average score because it demonstrated a clear understanding of the SAV project, including which critical steps are needed to complete the project on time and within budget. The evaluation committee noted that the recently completed project by WSP were found to be in close alignment with our SAV project, and WSP was the only proposer that ranked or tied for first in all 3 categories. So given the disparity in the score between the firms, it was unlikely that the interview would help the other firms surpass WSP. So for that reason, the optional interviews were not conducted. This project is fully funded with a grant that we received from MTC, and the project is also included in the FY 22-23 approved budget. This will be a 2-year contract, but with the bulk of the work taking place over the next 6 months. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions for Tom? Yes, Board Member Josie.
Thank you. I just want to just double check that I really understand what we're talking about. This contract is to lay the groundwork for when we get the next pilot vehicle, the upgraded vehicles in, and that delivery is still 2 years away. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes. This is more the back end work in preparation for phase 2.
Okay. And remind me when phase 2 will start, the actual having the vehicle here?
So we're hoping to have this specific task completed by spring, so we can issue an RFP for the vehicle procurement. So we're hoping to have the vehicle here late fall of 2023, with the service being scheduled to be implemented early 2024. So January, February, early 2024.
Okay, thank you.
I have one. Oh, sorry. Pardon me for not raising my hand. Sorry. I'm out of routine here. Just curious. It looks like you had an interesting evaluation committee, BART and ACTC, MTC. Is there anything you can share with us, Tone, about their comments on this project, and anything more you want to add about what came out of the evaluation that might be interesting?
Sure.
Sort of separate from, the different proposers themselves.
So by trade, I'm an operation person. So I'm not very technical when it comes to the actual communication system and how the interplay between the vehicles and the traffic controller. So we had someone from the traffic division of Dublin on the committee. We also have someone that has the technical background from ACTC, because they're the one that's providing the matching funds for this project. And because this phase 2 projects will include 2 mobility hubs, one being at the BART station. We also have someone from BART on the committee to provide their input. So overall, I think the consensus was WSP provided the clearest path on how we're able to accomplish our goal for this specific project. I mean, I'm not a technical person. I was able to understand the comprehensive technical approach that they laid out on how they want to deliver on the work plans. So.
Okay, good, great. Thanks very much.
I just had two quick questions. So the engineering study that's a part of the potential approval for today, is that going to be specific just to Dublin, or would it be able to apply to other areas once some future SAVs are roaming the streets of Livermore and Pleasanton as well as Dublin?
So the funding for this project, it was a partnership between LAVTA and Dublin that when we submitted the application for the IDEA grant. So this specific funding is just for the route that we're currently exploring in Dublin.
Are you going to learn more about communication with lights and streets and pedestrians that it would have some larger applicability?
There is some thing that we can learn from this that can apply to other location. But I think it depends on what type of system the city has, because I found out recently that not every city have the same communication system at the intersection. I know Dublin has TrafficWare, but I'm not sure if Pleasanton has the same application or not. So, but I'm pretty sure the functionality will be very similar. It might require a little tweak here and there.
And last question regarding the MTC funding. Is there any expiration? Because it was talked about doing some work, and I assume there will still be funds left over when the actual SAV vehicle arrives for use. Do we have a window of time that can be like a 2 or 3 year window?
So the expiration date for this funding is scheduled to sunset at the end of next year. That's why we're trying to get this task completed before then.
So you don't need the actual SAV machine or vehicle to be here?
No, that'll be a separate funding source, and that's the item that I want to take to the board next month, which is the design of the mobility hub, which is the first allocation request for that 2.7 million from RM2 money that will fund the design, the construction of the hub, and the purchase of the vehicles.
Look forward to seeing that. All right. Jennifer, do we have anybody from the public that would like to speak on this agenda item?
There's one attendee. If you'd like to speak, please raise your hand. They are not raising their hand.
Okay. All right, I'll close the public hearing. Staff is requesting the Board of Directors award a contract to WSP in the amount not to exceed $280,000 for the Shared Autonomous Vehicle System Engineering Services. Could I have a motion, please?
Move approval, Banana.
Seconded, Josie.
All right, we have a motion made by Banana and seconded by Josie. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Director Bonanno,
Aye.
Director Josie,
Aye.
Director Kick,
Aye.
Director Narum,
Aye.
and Director Brown.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, we're on to agenda item matters initiated by board members. And I'm hearing a lot of talk about back to school and full buses. I wondered, Tony, could you tell us a little bit more about bus service and these back to school days within the Tri-Valley?
Mr. Conran, do 3 board members have to ask for this or?
No.
Okay.
No.
So we are on day 9 of return to school. And to say there has not been a dull moment would be an exaggeration. Our ridership thus far this year is up 90% over where we were last year. And if you can believe it, in Pleasanton, we were actually almost 15% above where we were pre-pandemic. For example, last Friday, between the Dublin routes and the Pleasanton routes, we carried 2,400 students, and our total system-wide ridership was 4,400. So 2,400 out of 4,400 were middle and high school students.
Councilmember, I'll just jump in. Councilmember Narum, I know Pleasanton likes a good deal, and free rides on buses is a good deal.
That's true. Although what we've found is, actually price sensitivity is not that big of a deal in Dublin and Pleasanton as far as riding the school bus service. We don't really drop off that much once the free rides go away. But we have had to add some extra service because of crowded buses. We've added an extra PM bus to Pleasanton Middle School going out to Ruby Hill. We've added a bus on 2 different routes serving Hart Middle School. The ridership at Hart this year could be due to a little bit of construction activity around the school and a rearranged parent pickup methodology. But I'm thinking after about the 3rd day, the parents said, no, just take the bus. And so we've had to add 2 extra buses at Hart. We've had to add a morning bus to Dublin High School because of loads there. We've had the ridership in Dublin is just about the same as it was pre-pandemic. The service to, Dublin High School, is always challenging on the street, Amador or Parkway, whatever that's called, Village Parkway. But we've had some great assistance from the Dublin Police Department and from the staff at Dublin High School. They have blocked off entrances to the high school parking lot so that parents cannot just dwell on the street and block our buses. And that's really helped out. And it's amazing what a couple of policemen on either motorcycle or in a car with flashing lights, bullhorns, and that kind of thing can do as far as clearing a traffic lane. So thus far in Pleasanton and Dublin, we've been able to react really quickly. We meet every morning and discuss the trippers every day. All of us have been out at the schools every day. I've been out at Dublin High School. I've been out at Hart. I was at Hart last Friday to watch the loading. Tomorrow's been unfortunately at Foothill High and also at Dublin High School. And Tone's been out there as well as our other staff. So we like to go the first week and do as much as we can to help the kids get on the right bus, make sure everybody gets home right. And for the most part, that did happen. Only had a couple of kids that got on the wrong bus, and we managed to arrange for a handoff to a parent at a location, an agreed upon location. We don't just leave kids stranded on the street. When the bus driver gets to the end of the route and there's still somebody on the bus, they call into dispatch. We get a hold of the parent, and then we say, okay, let's meet at such and such a place and do the handoff. Livermore starts tomorrow, and a new little twist in Livermore is that there's a state law that takes effect this year that high schools can start no earlier than 8:30 in the morning. And last year, Pleasanton and Dublin both decided to go ahead and switch to the 8:30 start time, but this year is the first year that Dublin or Livermore High School is going to start in Granada at 8:30. And that's really close to the start time at East Avenue Middle School. And those are 2 of our very heavy ridership destinations in Livermore. So preemptively, we're putting an extra bus on the Route 30 leaving Livermore Lab that will get the students to East Avenue Middle and to Livermore High School. And then we've already had in the past years an extra bus when school lets out to handle the overloads at those 2 locations. So that's the synopsis. It's great news as far as the ridership. We just we're kind of at the point of not being able to add a whole lot more buses until we get some more drivers in the pipeline. And Tone's got that angle working. We've got some drivers coming on board probably next week, and then in the weeks following, there's going to be more and more drivers eligible to drive. So far, so good.
Excellent. Thank you, staff. And on behalf of the board, I'm sure everybody would like to say it themselves, but the extra work it has been to get the school year started, each and every year is a big commitment of time, and standing out in front of high schools and elementary or middle schools is probably not what you thought your career would be, especially in 90-degree weather. But I love the
Yes.
story about a child that's still on the bus is coordinated to be home safe with their parents. So that's a great story. Great about drivers. Looking forward to Livermore coming on board. What about Las Positas College? Do you have any updates on that?
Las Positas started last Thursday, and I went through campus Thursday, and the parking lots were not very full as they were pre-pandemic. But then I drove through the area where we pick up, and there were maybe 4 or 5 students at each of the bus stops. I think things will pick up this week. Thursdays and Fridays are not really big ridership days at Las Positas because there's just not as many classes scheduled as there are on Mondays. A lot of Monday, Wednesday classes. So Monday and Wednesday tend to be our big days out there. So we'll keep an eye on that and go out and do some information distribution. And the other thing we have to do at Las Positas is the students have to get a student ID, a semester ID at the student administration office. So we've got signs up in the shelter warning them that they need to get their sticker on their ID before Labor Day, or the driver's going to charge them a fare. And so we'll go out the week before Labor Day and again remind kids the office is right behind you. All you have to do is go up and get a semester sticker, and you'll be good to ride. So that's going well.
Wonderful. And I'm so pleased to hear about new drivers coming on board, because as you were saying, a bus here, a bus there, another bus here, another bus there, I thought you're running out of drivers. So it's wonderful news that we've got some new drivers coming on in the queue, and we'll be driving our buses shortly. So thanks for the information. Do any comments or questions from other board members?
Yeah, I just want to echo the kudos. I haven't had a single email saying the buses are running late, or that we've had any problems with kids getting on the bus or the buses being too full. Certainly anecdotally that the buses are full, but not so full that they're not getting on them. So it's been a smooth rollout here at Dublin High. So it's looking good so far. Thanks very much.
I think probably 4 years ago, if every student didn't have a seat, you got complaints from parents that the buses were too full. But we have kind of, over the last 3 to 4 years, as the ridership on the school routes has grown and grown and grown, I think there's a realization that 60 students on a bus is when you start saying it's full. There's 40 seats. When there's 60 students, that's when we start saying it's close to full. When we hit 70, then we start looking to add a bus. And if we hit 75, it's like tomorrow we need another bus. So we kind of triage the loads and apply the resources where they're best needed.
Exactly. Remember when we did a short loop onto the freeway with 60 students on a bus, and we had to reroute to keep them off because we didn't have students butts in seats at that time. So
Yeah.
good deal.
Can I say something real quick? I just want
Of
to
course.
tell all of you, since you obviously live here in the Tri-Valley, these students in the Tri-Valley are so nice. They are polite. We had a bus get stuck in traffic. I was at Foothill the first week of school, and the students, excuse me, I don't want to call them kids. The students thanked me for waiting with them. They thanked the driver when they got on the bus. I mean, and she'd been sitting in traffic on the freeway, so she was a little frazzled at that point. And they're just so polite and so nice and appreciative. Every year I'm just so impressed. And in all the schools. It's not just one school or another, it's all the schools.
I know you guys are busy working, but those words are so important tomorrow, because I think some parents are thinking, oh, kids on buses is pandemonium and it's not safe or organized or something. If you think about a photograph or a press release with a caption just saying how well this has gone this year, I would love to see something about how polite the students are. Parents deserve to hear that. And And it makes us pretty proud that we're part of a program that's appreciated. You guys especially, because you're out there standing in the trenches, but the rest of us, it's just really nice to hear, because I remember being on a bus and not all kids were considerate and polite, and some of them fought and were noisy and so forth. So this is really great to hear.
Reminding them of how polite they are is always a good thing as well.
Especially since you're working in the trenches with those high school students. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. That is great, great news. We're looking at matters initiated by Board of Directors. Anything else to initiate? All right. All right. Seeing none, our next meeting is scheduled for September 12th at 4 p.m., of course, for 2022. And we are not having a projects and services meeting today, correct?
Correct. I did also want to mention that I thought somebody on the board might ask me if our new website is going to launch on Monday. And the answer to that is yes. So if you go to wheelsbus.com on Monday, you'll see our brand new website, and it is really exciting. It's quite an improvement over the current website. So
Monday, so this is a week from
today.
Week from today. All right. Sounds great. All right.
All
Thank
right.
you, everyone. Thanks for attending our special board meeting. And this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.